Good morning of day 23. I'm leaving Oviedo and walking to Grado, which is about 15 miles away. It has been raining. It is supposed to stop raining, but it's just sprinkling, so far so good. I'm making my way from my hotel from last night to the Camino, and then I'll be on my way. I am just on the outskirts of Oviedo. We've got this nice path leading into the mountains. My fears of navigating Oviedo were unfounded. There were plenty of shells on the ground, and then they became arrows and shells. No rain. Things are looking good. There are plenty of people out here. There's at least 4 ahead of me and at least 3 behind me, so I think this is a more popular section of the trail than I've been on.
Dang. It's probably to make the flies go away, and it's clearly not working.
Oh. Well, my first impressions 8 miles in from Oviedo on the Primitivo is that I like it. And obviously I have a long way to go on the Primitivo, and it's not a comment about the Norte. I like the remoteness. I've been walking through rural since basically we left Oviedo. Small little roads like this one, trails that are wide and feel like they've been in place for a very long time. The hills have not been much at all, which I know that will change. It has a nice rural feel to it. Mountains everywhere. So far so good and as advertised, and I think I'm going to be glad to have had both the Norte and the Primitivo experience after all is said and done. So this is the end of day 23, and I went from Oviedo to Grado, and I was picked up in Grado by the owner of basically a hacienda, a big casa house on top of a mountain. Drove about 15 minutes to get here, and this is the view. Today was a great day. It was very rural. I would say 70% off-road. If it was road, they were very small roads that had very little traffic on them. The trails were all much more defined and wider and less rocky, so even those were really nice to walk on. About 16 and a quarter miles, and it was a nice, pleasant day, probably the coolest day that I've had so far. And there was a breeze, so it was really the most comfortable day of walking that I think I've had on the entire Camino. So day 23 finished. Tomorrow I will get a ride back down to my starting point and head back on the Camino Primitivo again. So we will see you mañana.